Hello everybody, good afternoon and welcome to the final day, the final afternoon of National Graduate Week, which is brought to you by Career Map. For those of you who don't know me by now, you might be new around here this afternoon. My name is Heather Reynolds. I'm Career Map Account Director and Head of National Graduate Week. This afternoon, we are joined by the team at the University College of Football Business Global Institute of Sport. They'll be telling you all about the courses they offer at master's level, employment opportunities during and after your studies, the global study hubs, and much more. Before I hand over to Rick and the team, I just need to let you know of a bit of housekeeping rules. Not rules, just housekeeping. Chat box is on the right hand side. You can ask any questions on the chat box and we will endeavour to answer them at the end of the session. If you're having any issues submitting your chat, you can always email us at info@careermap.co.uk. I will put that email address at the top of the chat shortly. The session is going to be recorded, so it will be available on the National Graduate Week website in a week or so. Just say give us a bit of time because there's been a lot of sessions this week and we need to get them all up and running. So if you need anything in the immediate future, well, the now, the here and the now, screenshot away and ask any questions. And I think that is my cue to hand over to Rick and disappear for the Q&A afterwards.
Thank you very much for that lovely introduction. Hello and welcome this afternoon. My name's Rick and I'm one of the postgraduate recruiters here at the Global Institute of Sport. I'm joined by three of my team here today who will be on hand to answer questions and jump in on the presentation as well. But without further ado, I will turn my camera off so you can see the full screen and talk to you a little bit about what to expect from the Global Institute of Sport. So, yeah. Like I say, I'm with my team member Shraddha, and there's also Simon and Rohan with us today as well. We are kind of the faces of your postgraduate recruitment team. So any of you that are interested in coming and studying a master's program within the sports industry, we're the people to talk to. We're the people to help guide you and ultimately decide whether or not this is the right thing for you. We only obviously want people coming to our institution who are intent on getting into the world of sports. And ultimately, we want to help you achieve your dream goal of getting a job within the sports industry that you love. So what is Global Institute of Sport? So at the beginning, we mentioned the University Campus of Football Business. So the University Ucfb, as it's called, is our undergraduate offerings. So all of our sort of undergraduate degrees. The Global Institute of Sport is where all of our master's programs are housed as well. So ultimately, the idea with this is that we can help expand our network globally, give you a global view of the entire sports world and all the sports that fall below it. And give you a really, really good stead to jump into the industry and start making positive change within the games that you choose to go into. So why particularly GIS? I'm going to refer to it as GIS from here on out, so that, you can learn that acronym now. Well, the thing that we're really proud of is our unique learning model. And what exactly do I mean by that? So to break it down, it's what we teach, where we teach, and how we teach it. So as you can see below, we're looking at master's degrees. We also have opportunities in executive education, in professional qualifications as well. Where we teach from some of the best sports facilities in the world, including Wembley Stadium and the Etihad campus. We also have the global study hubs, which I'll touch on a little bit later. And those are all around the world, particularly in North America and in Australia. And then how we teach, we have a blend of on-campus and online offerings for you to get involved in. We have guest speakers coming from the world of football and sports who are people you've heard of, like Gareth Southgate, but we've also got tons of people who have really high-profile jobs in all over the world that you might not have heard of, but you're very interested in their career path. And my colleague Simon's going to be touching on that a little bit later as well. And ultimately, as I'm sure you're possibly all aware, the world of sports, the world of football is very networked. So a lot of it is down to, who you know, how you leverage those relationships, how you get into different places. And that's what people find the hardest when they start into the football industry, particularly, in that they don't have these networks. And by coming through the Global Institute of Sport, we give you these networks, we give you access to these networks, and we set up brilliant opportunities to get involved with them through a wide variety of events and things that I'll touch on in a little bit. So starting more on what we teach bespoke industry relevant degrees. What exactly do I mean by that? Obviously the world of sports, incredibly fast moving industry, lots of changes, lots of technological advances, lots of societal changes, lots of things that are changing every week and every year. And we keep up with that. Every single year we review our entire curriculum to make sure that it is as contemporary and up to date as possible. And ultimately helping you learn things that are going to be applicable to a wide variety of different areas within the industry. That is taught by an international academic team. So we have our academics from all corners of the globe, from all different disciplines and all sorts of things like that. So ultimately, this international academic team are going to come and bring a wide range of viewpoints on all the different topics that you'll be covering throughout your degree. These are people who have had extensive experience within the sports industry, be that, that they retired and now they're teaching, or we have people who are still active in the industry and then coming to teach our lectures as well. So ultimately, we're there to help make sure that you are getting a wide range of people speaking to you on a daily basis to give you that kind of best sort of exploratory look into the industry. And that academic team, as I touched on, that's a blend of experienced academic staff, but it's also, those industry professionals, which, their experience is brilliant and unbelievable when shared with their students. So the bit you're probably really interested in to look at here is the offerings of degrees that we have. So typically we have sort of two types. We have more of like the coaching and practical type of degree in sort of coaching analysis, performance analysis, things like that. We also have off the field, so a bit more business, behind the scenes sort of elements of football, and both incredibly interesting categories of the game and areas that you can learn about. We have extensive networks on both sides of the game. We have extensive experience with people who are teaching our lectures on a daily basis. They are all experts in what they do and experts in their disciplines. So as you can see on the right-hand side as well, we have the boxes to indicate where we teach and how we teach these courses. So as you can see, they're all taught at our Wembley and Etihad campuses in the UK. However, the Sports Directorship Masters is taught in the Miami campus, which I will talk to in a little bit. We have online offerings for fully online offerings for practically all of our degrees, except for you'll see the two coaching degrees there as well, which is blended, which means that the vast majority of the course is taught online, but there will be a set period of time when you would have to come into one of our campuses and undertake practicals and things like that. But I think the main thing I want to stress on this slide is the flexibility that comes along with these courses. So ultimately, it's a master's program now. We get people who are doing full-time jobs and wanting to learn alongside what we do. So ultimately, we're there to try and make it as flexible as possible for you. So all of your lectures, be them in person and or online, they are all recorded anyway for your flexibility. There's often not many kind of requirements around attendance because, the biggest thing with a master's is at this point, you've decided to continue with your education. You're putting another financial element into it. And we really want you to appreciate that. So we're not going to spoon feed you. You have to come here, and I'm sure Simon will talk about this a lot in his employment slides, is that, if you're there, if you're ready to get up and go and get involved in the industry, we're there to support you every single step of the way. But as cliche as it sounds, it is very much what you put into it is what you get out of it. So to add on to that flexibility point that I just mentioned, we do also offer a couple of our courses in different time zones. So our two most popular master's courses, the International Sport Management and the Football Business Masters, they can be delivered in 3 different time zones. So we have the Americas time zone, Europe and Africa, and then Australasia as well. So these programs are available to be, studied in different time zones. So what that means is that your live sessions will be in line with those time zones. So it could be that maybe if you're based here in the UK, then you would be working 9 to 5, but you would still like to attend live sessions. So if you were to sign up for, say, the American time zone, then your live sessions would likely be in the evening UK time. And the benefit of the live sessions over the recordings is you get to ask sort of live questions, collaborate in real time, all those kinds of things. But that's just another thing to really emphasize how big we are on flexibility and wanting to help you to work in this degree alongside whatever you're doing in your life, be that working, be that personal, etc. We want you to be able to, we don't want time to be something that can put you off coming and joining us. And exactly, just more benefits of those online degrees. If you are in fact interested in that, you know, the content of the courses is exactly the same as it would be in person. It's purely that delivery. And ultimately, yeah, the online support is still very much there. One added benefit is that a lot of our international students typically choose online degrees. So you're getting the people that you'd be collaborating with on a day-to-day basis would be from a variety of different countries, which can only be great going into a global industry such as sport. So, you know, that's just something to think about as well. And so to touch on a bit more about where we deliver the courses. So our two main campuses are here in the UK. One is the Etihad Stadium at the Etihad campus in Manchester. And then we also have Wembley Stadium down here in London as well. So these are where we actively deliver on-campus lectures. And ultimately, yeah, they're actual campuses as you would see at any other higher education institution. And we don't always just necessarily use the stadiums. So I'm sorry to break it to some of the coaching prospective students. You don't actually coach on Wembley pitch. Unfortunately, not yet. You'd have to work your way up in your career to do that. But we do utilize some of the other facilities in the local area. So you'll see the Hive London Stadium there at the top. That is home of Barnet FC. That's where a lot of our coaching elements are delivered. We also utilize Hendon FC Stadium. And then you'll see as well with the academic facilities in green, that is when, say, Wembley Stadium is being used for an England game or a Champions League final. Obviously, it's in use for various events throughout the year. So we can't often be in the stadiums at the same time, but that's just to kind of give you an idea that we do utilize an area around the stadium as well. And then we have accommodations there as well. We have a brand new Archview house, which is just around the corner. Lovely building, only opened about a month ago. So yeah, we have accommodation as well with our courses. Just to look a bit more at the Manchester campus as well. Same story, we utilize Curzon Ashton Football Club as a way of using their sports facilities, also the National Cycling Centre, Manchester Tennis and Football Centre. And then we have Piccadilly Place as an academic facility, which is right in the heart of Manchester. And yeah, just we have a range of facilities alongside the stadiums themselves. But for by and large, everything you were doing academically will be within the stadiums. And so looking a bit more globally, we are also in the process of establishing a couple of campuses over in America, currently our global study hubs. So these are in Inter Miami's stadium, obviously famously owned by David Beckham, New York Red Bulls Arena over in New Jersey, just across the river. Brilliant venues over in the US. We have strong collaborations with these football clubs and these stadiums as a whole. And so what that means is we often deliver events from these stadiums and give students the opportunity to get involved with the whole of the market, which I'll talk a little bit about when we talk about our Global Summit series in a minute. And onto that Global Summit series from a kind of general overview. Throughout the year, we host tons of events for you to gain access into those networks that I talked about and just gain more experience into the world of sports from a variety of different angles. So the Global Summits, which again, next slide, I'll go into detail. We hold in the MCG, which is in Melbourne, the largest cricket stadium in the world. We have Red Bull Arena and Inter Miami Stadium, which I just talked about, which would be in May. This is just the prospective calendar for next year. Some of it is, potentially subject to change given the circumstances that we're all playing under internationally at the moment. But this is the plan. And then we also have May in Toronto, September in Atlanta at the magnificent Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Then we also have our Future Leaders Conference too at St. George's Park. And so what do I exactly mean by the Global Sports Summits? So this is a relatively new idea that we're working with here, which we held our first ever in-person one just at the very beginning of 2020 before all the restrictions came in internationally. So that was held in Melbourne and Sydney, and it gave our students a perfect opportunity to get involved with an Australian market. And so we invite all students from GIS to come to the Global Sports Summits. It's all included. All that we ask is you get your flights over to the various locations. And what you get is at the Melbourne Summit particularly, it was a 10-day summit experience which covered 7 different sports around the Australian 2 cities of Sydney and Melbourne, looking at just the various different industries that go along with the sports and their impact within the Australian society, what it has on the economy, what it has on the culture. You also get to go to 5 live sports experiences in that Melbourne series. And these can range from football matches to rugby matches to Aussie rules football, things like that. You get to go behind the scenes at sports venues as well. You get to listen to 15 guest speakers in this particular series with their insights from all different areas of the industry. And it's all kind of built together around networking and understanding of a particular market. So obviously, if we were to hold one in New York, you'd understand a bit more about the American market, in Toronto, the Canadian market. And so you just get to hear from major players within those industries and have the chance to actually talk to them, network with them. And what's brilliant is that this isn't just available to you during the year or 2 years part-time that you come and study with us. You have a lifetime invitation to come to one of these summits. So it might be that you don't have the means to pay for the flight or the time whilst you're with us actually studying. And you may go away, work for 3, 4, 5, 10 years, and then realize, actually, I think I'm ready to work into the Australian market, or I'd like to go and see how this sport does something in that area. And then that's why we always have this invitation on offer for you. So you can come back when you're ready and get involved with such a fantastic event. This is just a quick little quote from Philip, who went to the Melbourne Summit. As you can imagine, he's had a brilliant time there. I was speaking to a student just the other day as well, who was coming and begging me to allow him to go to another one, which is something that we can do. You're able to go to all of them. If you've got the financial means and you've got the time, then by all means come along. And so it really is an incredible opportunity to get involved and something that we're really excited to keep developing. Obviously, it hit a roadblock during last year, but we are looking to go all guns blazing for 2022 and onwards. One thing to mention as well, with regards to start dates, which I will talk about, but it's always good to just get it out there as well. We are welcoming applications for January 2022 as well. So if any of you are free to start the course then and you'd like to get started before the typical sort of September 2022 start date, then we welcome January applications for our Football Business Masters and our International Sport Management Masters. And we'd be happy to talk to you a little bit more about that later. Another event that we have is the Liga Summit, which follows a similar kind of mindset to the Global Sports Summits. This is held often in Madrid with top leaders within Spain's highest division. Obviously, you'll get to talk to people from a variety of different clubs, including the big ones within the Spanish industry. And so, yeah, that's just another brilliant opportunity for you to get involved with the Spanish market, which is, as you can imagine, one of the biggest football markets in the world. And now I'm going to pass you over to talk with Simon, who is part of our Employability and Enrichment team, to talk about some of the opportunities that are available to you as a student.
Yeah, hi everybody. Thanks, Rick. So I am the Employability and Enrichment Manager at the Wembley campus, looking after both UCFB and GIS. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what we do. So we're not involved in your lectures at all. So we're not involved in your master's degree in any shape or form, but we are the body that puts on everything that students get to do on top of their degree. while they are with us. So that could be activities that enrich your time with us and also give you extra skills, that are valuable for your CV. And it's also trying to embed you in the industry and allowing you to network and make connections so that, when you are graduating from GIS, you either already have a job lined up ready to go into, or you are in the best possible place and your CV is in the best possible place. That when you are applying for jobs, your CV jumps off the desk wherever it lands. So one of the big things we do is a work placement program, and we have a very comprehensive work placement program because of where we're based, who we are, the connections we already have, the industry contacts, the networking. There are a wealth of placement or work experience opportunities for you to combine with your studies. So the work experience opportunities we get are usually 1 or 2 days a week at sort of clubs or businesses connected to the world of sport. It could be, media companies, it could be finance companies, it could be football clubs, professional clubs, it could be non-football, other sports. The placements are hands-on, and that's the great thing. So when we go and connect with these clubs or businesses regarding placements, the focus is very much on whenever our students, undergrad or postgrad, go to these clubs or businesses, they have a role to play at these clubs. So, for example, we have students involved in running social media feeds for teams. We have students working in finance departments, running club shops, doing marketing campaigns, coaching with academies, event management, business football administration, law roles. It's wide variety. There's a real wide variety, but you will have a role to play at that club. So you will be given tasks to do. So you will really feel part of that club or business while you are there. You'll be treated like any employee. And it's a fantastic way for you to bury yourself into the business, network with the people there, make a name for yourself, and get connections. Because very often our students at both undergrad and postgrad level will find a job opening where they are doing their placement or their work experience because they've proved themselves and a door is opened for them. Okay, so yeah, we have placements and experience opportunities at a wide variety of organizations, from Premier League clubs to National League and below. In the UK, we have placements with company organizations such as the FA. We have many placements in America, opportunities. There are opportunities worldwide, to be honest. If you are willing to travel somewhere and you are able to travel somewhere, then we will help you find a placement there. It is just up to you to engage with our team so we know how we can help you. Okay, so we run a whole range of professional and personal development activities. That could be guest speakers from industry, that could be workshops, it could be skill sessions, it could be certified courses. These are all promoted to students through a platform we use called Job Teaser. So everything we do, every enrichment activity, every work experience opportunity is promoted to students through our Job Teaser platform. So it is available to every student to apply for. Some placements we get and some opportunities we get are ring fenced just for GIS students. So for example, this week we were asked by Rangers Football Club in Glasgow to come up with a list of GIS students that will be graduating soon that could fit roles within their club. And so we are having to put together a pool of our talent to be interviewed in Glasgow for a sort of possible role straight from graduation with Glasgow Rangers, which is quite an attractive role for a lot of those students. Okay, so as you can see, we work with organizations, clubs and businesses across the length and breadth of the sporting world. It doesn't matter what you're interested in. If you come and tell us, we can do something about it. So football is obviously the bread and butter, as you can see there. But this week, for example, I've sorted placements in motorsport for students. I also had a talk with the London Lions basketball team yesterday, who are the professional basketball team in London, about a whole wealth of experience opportunities at all levels with them. As I say, so as long as we know what interests you and you tell us, we can help you try and get a foothold in that business. So it really doesn't matter where it is. It can even be sort of elsewhere in the world. It doesn't have to be just within the UK. We can help. As long as we know, we can help. Just the slide is moving very, very slowly on my screen, but there's the next. Yeah, so as you can see, there's Seattle. Oh, has it gone forward? There. So anywhere in the world. So if you're able to go anywhere, then we can help you get there. And I say, it doesn't have to be sporting clubs. It can be businesses connected to sport, charity foundations, legal firms, finance companies. It really doesn't matter. We have many connections, many opportunities. You just need to apply for them when we are promoting them to the students. The other thing that we mentioned that really throws you headlong into the industry is our guest speaker program. So we have a phenomenal range of guest speakers, really. They are a mix of what we call Keynote guest speakers, which is when we have headline guests that are open to every student, no matter what degree they are studying with us, undergrad or postgrad. So that would be, for example, a Gareth Southgate, who we had recently, or in the last year, we had Sven-Göran Eriksson, Roy Hodgson, Martin O'Neill. We had, who else have we had? Steve McLaren, we had a couple of weeks ago. So there will be the keynotes that are open to everybody. And then there will be more degree-specific speakers that will come in and really dive deep into their specific specialist area of the sporting world and giving you tips, advice, their career path, how you can achieve it, and that could be a football and entertainment agent like Sky Andrew. It could be coaches within teams. This week we had a session with Pascal Zuberbühler, who's a former Switzerland international goalkeeper. He now works for FIFA in their technical department with Arsene Wenger, specializing in goalkeeping training. So he did a session for us from Zurich, talking about his role. As you can see on this slide here, Guillem Balaguer, who many of you will obviously know, who is a Spanish football journalist, but he lives in the UK most of the year. He runs a series of sessions with us, brings in guests. He's brought in the football directors from Eibar, the La Liga team. He's brought in media personalities. The students lap up his sessions. And so everybody that is put in front of you will have been there, done it in terms of football and sporting world. And they come in knowing that their role is to come in and pass on their knowledge to you. So how can they help you? Male guests, female guests, football, non-football. It's up to you to pick the brains of these people, because you can ask them questions. Some guests, the questions have to be submitted in advance, but then others will be a pure Q&A where you can just literally put your hand up and ask them a question. Many of the sessions, if you can't make them in person, the sessions, a lot of them are held online anyway, in which case the online session is recorded, so you could watch it anytime you wanted. And also with the live sessions, we try and stream the live sessions wherever we can from either Wembley or the Etihad. At both campuses, we also have a dedicated careers team. So we have fully qualified careers coaches at both campuses, and their role is, again, to prepare you for life after GIS. So you can be in the best possible place and you have maximized your potential before going into the sports industry. So the careers coaches will help you on everything from helping write your CV. Okay, we have mock interview sessions. They can give you guidance on possible career pathways. We have careers fair. So, for example, we have a careers fair happening at Wembley in 2 weeks' time, where people, the likes of West Ham, Fulham, QPR, the British Horse Racing Authority, American coaching firms are sort of coming to talk to our students and possibly and hopefully recruit them, straight from graduation. So again, there is a lot available to you. So this figure's an interesting one. So 570,000. So in case you're wondering what that figure is, I can tell you that is how many people work in sport in the UK. So there are 570,000 jobs in sport in the UK. And that is by far the biggest figure in Europe. In fact, you can pretty much add up most of the countries in Europe combined, and they will not reach that figure, because sport is an absolutely essential part of life in the UK. You know, most people have some sort of interest in sport, whether it be following their team or playing it or knowing family members that do. And so the reason we put that slide up is to show just how many opportunities there are, because that number is growing because sport develops. So, for example, 5 years ago, there weren't really roles and jobs in esports. Now there are. So again, in a couple of years' time, there will be new openings, certainly in terms of sports technology, data management. This is where the sporting world is going. And as it goes in that direction, new jobs and new roles are created, and you could be the ones filling those roles. So 92%, that is the percentage of our GIS postgrads that within 6 months of graduating from GIS with their master's degree are working or have gone on to even further study. So 92% of our students. That figure, to be perfectly honest with you, is a figure that you would find in most universities. You could go to most institutions and they would give you that figure. The most impressive figure for us is that 82% of our GIS graduates are working in sport within 6 months. So 82% of our students have found themselves employment in a job directly related to their studies, which is most definitely not the norm for the UK. So in other words, basically by coming to GIS and studying a master's degree with us, you could basically massively enhance your chance of getting a job within the sports industry. Okay, so hope you enjoyed that section. I'm going to hand over now to Rohan, who's one of our graduates, who can talk about how GIS helped him prepare for sort of the sporting world and can talk about his experiences. Hi, Rohan.
Thank you, Simon, for that insight. Yes, you say student, and you know it makes me recollect the days when I was a student at Ucfb Gis, which wasn't a long time ago. But yeah, like your life changes 360 when you join a football club and when you start working in sports. So yeah, it's been a pleasure to study at Ucfb Gis, and today I'll be sharing my experience regarding the same. So yeah, the slide you see right now is basically the first slide I presented to Watford Football Club for an opportunity on the basis of an internship which they were offering as a result of me being in these guest speaker sessions and going up to one of these speakers who happened to be the commercial director of Watford Football Club. So this was my first pitch of my first slide, and I'd spoken about the unlimited possibilities and tried to sell the idea of why Watford should try and target India, and on the basis of India, try and target the Southeast Asian market and go from there. So this is just a recollection for me with this slide, which I put up. So in terms of an introduction about me, yes, apparently I still currently am a Ucfb Gis master student, which is crazy if you think about it, because obviously at the same time I'm now fully employed at Watford Football Club. So it's a balancing act, but this becomes a common factor for many students who wish to go into Ucfb Gis and take part in the ample opportunities which they provide in terms of you not only getting experience, but also having an opportunity to develop that experience on internship, which is offered to become a full-time role. So by the end of your semester 2, you could possibly be looking towards handling both your Ucfb Gis studies as well as your role at a sports industry related club or firm. So that is the type of impact that Ucfb Gis can have on you when it comes to the sports industry and when you're looking to do something within the sports industry. The degree I did was MSc Football Communications and Digital Marketing. It's an excellent course in terms of what I love most about Ucfb Gis, and not just related to my course, but all courses, is the practical side of things in terms of examples which relate everything that's been taught otherwise. With real life latest examples, you get the understanding that, okay, this has been taught to you and this is how it's being implemented. So you get a real insight, which definitely helps develop your knowledge in a way which otherwise wouldn't be, and it makes you completely switched on in terms of the fact that, okay, if a crisis is presented, this is how you have to try and resolve it. So that's what I loved most in my time at UCFB Gis. I had done a previous master, so this I've basically written to try and explain that UCFB Gis has been an institute which has helped me achieve my dream of working in the football industry, which I had previously not got, despite having done a master's within the sports field at another university. That basically goes to show how much GIS is connected in terms of when you talk about being related to the football industry, having guest speakers coming in from the football industry, and not just the football industry, but the sports industry in general. So it's because of the impact of these networking sessions, and because of the impact that UCFB Gis has in terms of their guest speaker sessions, I was able to not only do the degree, but also by the time I come to the ends of my degree, be employed in a full-time opportunity. So yeah, I've achieved the only ever ambition I had, which was to work for a football club. Yes, I've been asked this question a number of times now since I've become full-time. People ask me, what is your job role? Like, what do you do? And my simple answer to that is, I wish I knew. It changes on a day-to-day basis, based on on-field performances, based on marketing strategies, based on the feedback on the basis of the marketing strategies and the countries you're targeting, based on what your sponsors have to say with regards to certain campaigns you're trying to do with them. So there's a whole list of different factors which exist, which make your job role not only exciting, but at the same time make it very challenging. So it's for the passion and for the love of working for a football club that, you get the drive out of that to try and tackle all these different problems and circumstances as and when they are presented to you. In the face of it, I am Watford Football Club's International Marketing Officer for India and their Commercial Marketing Executive. And I know I say those terms, but yeah, I mean, most of my job role and job responsibilities isn't always laid out in what was my job description. And sometimes you have to go to other departments and look into other things in order to make sure that a certain objective or goal that you've laid out has been completed. Which is why I come back to the same thing that I said at the start. I wish I knew what I did. So yes, that is my current job role. That is what I do. And I think being back in the Premier League is a huge blessing because it brings along a lot of commercial sponsorship opportunities, a lot of visibility in terms of broadcasting and broadcasting rights. And the club in general, being in the Premier League is one of the best leagues in the world. So being a part of that really helps you grow in terms of targeting new markets and your marketing strategies actually not just being an idea, but actually getting fulfilled in terms of practice. Yeah, so a bit more about the job profile. So yes, like I just said, when you target a new market, when you target a new region, you wanna drive social media numbers from there. And obviously, in terms of driving social media numbers, you need to be producing content which is localized for that region, which the audience there can resonate with. You can't have the same type of content everywhere that you possibly have on your Western channels. So it's about finding that common line of where you can still push your Western content, but how can you just tweak it a bit so that it becomes localized, by which, you're able to gather a new fan following out of a new region. You have to do public relations. When I say public relations, I was just referring to it in terms of just reaching out, making sure that the vision and the mission statement of the club is projected in the right way when you're targeting new markets so that everyone is aware of what you're specifically looking to try and do. And obviously then the development side of things. When you talk about countries like India, football is not really the first game that is prioritized in those countries. When it comes to India, we have the cricket up there. So when you target these upcoming markets, I think one thing that really, really helps is these strategic partnerships where you help to develop their football. You help to provide them the exposure, the knowledge sharing sessions that they require in order to get the right exposure so that you're doing things correctly and you're not there just to get numbers out of social media and just escape, but you're actually there to stay and actually make an impact so that you have a lasting effect on the country as a whole and on the region as a whole. Yes, so the biggest challenge that I have is is the fact that, in terms of the biggest challenge I face is that we are not a top six club. We will probably never be a top six club, in terms of the fact that, it's crazy in terms of the numbers and the drive that the top six clubs have. As you can clearly see, we have limited on-field success. We have just come back to the Premier League. We had been relegated last year, so we've just come back into the Premier League. So having said that, it's something that, it's challenging, but in a way it's also very, very exciting, because obviously you need to do things differently. You need to look at and approach marketing strategies in a very different manner, because of the fact that, you're here, you have to make an impact differently as compared to what a top six club would do. So yes, limited on-field success, it works both ways. There's good and bad effects of that, but yeah, that's what makes the job role, like I said, challenging, but at the same time exciting. So coming back to the why UCFB GIS question, well, if I've already not made it very clear, it's basically they've helped me fulfill my dream, and that's the exact reason why I walked through the doors of UCFB GIS in the first place. I've already mentioned how practical knowledge aligns with textbook knowledge, and which is one of the biggest takeaways I could probably look or give to anyone who's thinking about joining UCFB GIS, or looking into why we should choose UCFB GIS as compared to other sports universities which exist within the UK. I think the real insight is what matters, especially when you go into a job role and your assignment actually becomes your task in reality for that club. So that is one thing. So you've done these assignments, but now when you're inside the club and you're actually facing these problems, you realize that you've got the real insight, and you've had. Yes, and at the end of the day, I think what worked out for me is the fact that we had guest speaker sessions. You can reach out to these people. I always say this: you can reach out to people on LinkedIn. You can reach out to these people on all different platforms and try and get to know them. But at the same time, it hardly ever works. But UCFB GIS helps bridge that gap. You have guest speaker sessions in front of you in person, talking about their real life experiences in the job role and the job position which they have at any club. So to not only get that real insight, but be able to approach them is what is really just is outstanding, and probably the best thing about the guest speaker sessions that we have at UCFB GIS, which is why I think the university stands out, as it helped me through these guest speaker sessions to just approach. To just go ahead and approach a guest speaker which was in the form of a commercial director of Watford Football Club, Mr. Paul O'Brien, and just speak to him about how we could target a new market. And, that led to further talks, that led to interviews, that led to an internship, and now I'm here in the same full-time position. So you never know what can happen, but obviously guest speaker sessions makes you believe that you might know what might happen. So that I think is the biggest takeaway. Yes, so this was my final slide in terms of when I was pitching to Watford Football Club why they should hire me. I'd written a big fat thank you in front of a shot of Vicarage Road Stadium. Like I say, UCFB GIS, I know Simon was giving numbers earlier, but UCFB GIS aligns with the fact that they only have that one mission, and that is that every student that walks through their door gets equal opportunity to be able to work in the sports industry and to be able to fulfill their dream of whatever they have. I think that is something, as a dream, I've seen many of my friends fulfill. I've seen myself fulfill. So I think it's worked, which is why you should be here if you're considering this university amongst other sports universities while you look to target and get a job within the sports industry. One golden takeaway before I stop boring you guys is you should always look to get out of your comfort zone. Now, when I was sitting there when Paul O'Brien was presenting in the guest speaker session, I was super nervous. I may sound confident right now, but I was super nervous back then, and I'm super nervous whenever I present. But at the same time, it's about the fact that because UCFB GIS had bridged that gap and I was sitting right there in front of Paul O'Brien, I knew that this was it. I had to get out my comfort zone and go ahead and go and talk to him and try and give my elevator pitch as to why and how Watford Football Club should try and target a new market. And that led to where I am today, which is why I always say that you should always get out of your comfort zone, and UCFB GIS helps you not only realize that, but helps you give that ample opportunity by which you should do that. and it helps you present a wide range of different opportunities. Some opportunities you might not even be aware of that you're good for unless you're not exposed to them. So yeah, that was my time at UCFB Gis, and I'm super proud of my time at UCFB Gis. And yeah, I'm here for any questions later on. So thank you. Sorry, is this Simon? Do I need to get you back on the application process?
I think Simon might need to turn his microphone on.
Okay.
Sorry, what was that? Sorry, I was at a call on another line. Sorry, did somebody have a question for me specifically, or in terms of the application process? I'm not involved.
Guys, sorry. Rick is having some issues with his computer, so he's not able to go through the application process, but I'm more than happy to take this over. So the application process to apply for the master's program is pretty simple. All you need to do is go to the application page, the course you're interested in, go on that particular page and just click the apply button. You need to submit a few documents. I will share you the documents list in the second part of the presentation. But upload your, complete the form, upload your documents, press submit. That's it. And once you've done that, your application will then be sent to the admissions team. The application is then reviewed. If they need any additional documents from you, they will let you know. And once you've done that, they will provide you the final offer, and then you're all set to complete the enrollment. The enrollment process literally takes about a few minutes, and when the enrollment is completed, you are all good to start to the study journey with us. So a complete application form requires a personal statement. A personal statement needs to be around 500 words long, which should include information like why did you choose UCFB, what are your achievements, why did you choose this particular course, how are you going to use this course in your future career, etc. Please make sure that you write your personal statement in a clear and concise manner because it does count in your application form. You also require an undergraduate qualification. You require the transcripts for all the 3 years as well as your final degree certificate. We usually accept students who've got 2-1, but if you do not have the undergraduate qualification, or if you do not have a 2-1 in your undergraduate, it's still fine. Please do submit your application anyways, because our admissions team assesses the applications on the case-by-case basis. So it's completely fine. We also consider your experience, not just qualifications. So whatever program you're interested in, please feel free to do that. And if you do not have your undergraduate qualification, or if you don't have a 2-1, please make sure you try and submit your CV as well when you make your application, because that would help us get a deeper insight on your situation. We also require 2 references. One reference would be a professional reference, and the other reference would be your academic reference. You can get 2 references from the professional ones if you have not studied an undergraduate degree, or you can get 2 academic references if you don't have experience yet in the sports industry or any other industry. For international students who have not studied in the UK, or students who have not studied their degree, particularly from the NARIC universities, then those students would have to give English language qualifications. So you can, as part of English language test, you can either choose to do the Duolingo test, which is around an hour online test. It is extremely quick, and the minimum score required for that test is 95, or you can give the IELTS test. The IELTS exam, for the IELTS test, the minimum score required is 6.0, and 6.0 is also required in all the fields. So, like I said, the application is reviewed on the individual basis, but a good candidate would be the one who's got a 2-1 degree in an established institution, ideally within sports. But if it is in other sport background, if it is not sport, or if it is some other background, it's still fine, because we do have students coming from engineering or maybe some completely random field. It's completely fine. We still accept them, because for us, all that matters is your passion for sports and your passion for football, because people do change their minds in any time of the career, and that's completely understandable. And we do accept students who are looking for a career change. So please feel free to apply anyways. A passion for sport can be reflected in your personal statement. So when you make your personal statement, please make sure you do write your passion for football or any particular sport you are interested in. Well-developed career goals, again, can be reflected in your personal statement. Strong and supportive references. Like I said, the references do matter. So please make sure you do get strong and supportive references in making your application. So the enrollment is usually in the 3rd week of September. Like my colleague Rick mentioned previously, that we do offer these courses in January start as well as September. So if you're looking to start the master's program immediately whilst you're working, you can still go for the courses we have available in January. So for January, we have 2 courses available, which is International Sports Management and Football Business online. Both of these courses are available as an online option. If you want to do the on-campus based program, you would have to start in the September, which is September 2022. So the applications are now open for next year as well as for January. So you can apply anytime from now until the September next year. For January, I would say try and make an application before the end of December. If you need anything, please do let us know. We will always be on hand to help throughout the year. All the conditions, all of your documents, everything needs to be met prior to your enrollment. So without you getting the final offer to study with us, you cannot actually complete your enrollment. So try and make sure you apply as soon as possible so that you get enough time to collect all of the documents, to contact your referees, write a strong professional personal statement. Yeah, so these are the requirements which you need to be met prior. And so this is the email address which you can contact, which is mastersenquiries@ucfb.com, and it will come to myself, Rick, and other colleagues. So if you have any questions, you can always contact us on here, and I will now transfer it to Heather. Thanks, Heather.
No worries. Thank you so much. What a brilliant session. I think there's pretty much no stone unturned there. You've answered so many of the questions that we've had emailed through. And what a wonderful opportunity. And still 859 people in the room. So I think that everybody has enjoyed it as well as me. But I have got a couple of questions I can group together, and apologies if these have been answered earlier on in the presentation. So sometimes people can come in a little later and chip out at certain points, but I think that they're good to repeat anyway. They're around the costs for the masters. So what is the cost, and is there any funding available, and can I pay with a postgraduate loan? I think are the overarching questions I'd like to group together just there.
Yeah, okay. So I will pick this one up, Heather. So if the students are planning to study for the online program, the overall cost for the UK students as well as international students would be £10,950 for online courses. And I am talking about the January intake. For the September intake, which is next year, the fees are yet to be confirmed, but it would be something around 10,900 for next year. And if the students are planning to do the on-campus based program, the fee stays the same for the home students, but for the international students, it would be around £16,000. And in terms of funding options, there are a lot of scholarships available at our university. So students can apply. It doesn't matter what background they are from, because whenever students apply for scholarships, they're not 100% confident and they think they won't get it, so they don't even try. I would definitely suggest everyone to try and apply for the scholarships. So we have scholarships available from £1,000 to £5,000, which students can apply for. And in terms of the master's loan, yes, all of the courses at GIS are covered under the master's loan offered by the government. So I think about £11,000 are offered on the government loan, and the installments only go once you are graduated and once you've got the job. So until you're not graduated, whilst your studies, you won't get charged in terms of your installments. I hope that answers the question.
I think that's a wonderful answer. Thank you. Right, we've got about 5 minutes to go, so I think we've got enough time for 2 more questions. And I think that this is quite a good question for the females in the room here now. So the question is it quite a male-dominated course? I suppose we can branch this out and just talk about every course in general here, / industry. What's your opinion, guys?
So in terms of, if you would have asked me these questions a couple of years ago, I would definitely say yes. But right now, we do have a lot of female students applying for the master's program in sports industry as well, because it's not just about playing, it's about the back end of the football industry too. So it's also about studying digital marketing and communications, or the analysis side of sports industry. So right now we have 50%, maybe 55% of the male population studying this year, and about 45% of female. Yes, the male population is high, but the female is not as low as it was before as well, because this is the sports industry and a lot of females are applying as well for this, not just to do the back end of the thing, but also to help the female coaching clubs as well as female football industry in general. So I would definitely say it's we do have a mix.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah, hi, Heather. This is Simon. If I could just jump in as well, sorry, just to say that one of the things we are finding and are pushing on to our students at all levels is that female or women's sport is the biggest growth area in the country in terms of sport. So with the bigger growth, with the more interest in sport, with more money going into women's sport, more jobs are then created in women's sport. So, we get many female guests coming in, from players to coaches to broadcasters to football agents, that those roles didn't exist 5-10 years ago. We have a female football agent that comes in called Mala Koido, who basically said that when she was growing up, there were no female football agents as role models. They didn't exist. So now these people are here, and there's a pathway, and it's an area that is expanding, that is growing. So I think it's, for any female listeners thinking of coming along, it's the perfect time to come along, because I think you can accelerate your career faster as a woman than you may be able to as a man, because different doors open for you, and there's less people going for the bigger jobs. And so, many of our graduates have found that they get further, higher up the food chain, if you like, in women's sport than they ever could if they were just sticking to the male game. Yeah. So I think it's a perfect time to be a female student.
Brilliant. Great answers, guys. Right. I would just like to direct this final question at Rohan, if he's still here. There are quite a few that were aimed at him around his own experiences and so on. But I think that if we can focus on his future, if you're there, I can ask you a question about Rohan. Where do you see your career going within the next 5 and 10 years, and what are your own aspirations off the back of doing this course and working within the industry at the level that you're at already?
I think that's one of those questions which brings a big smile on my face. You have to talk about, Rohan, where do you see yourself in the next 5-10 years? This is surprising. I was telling someone yesterday that we've like Watford Football Club's greatest manager, Graham Taylor. He's had the saying where he says that, make sure to leave your footsteps for others to follow. For me, I only ever had one dream, to work inside a football club. I've always just wanted that, and I live and breathe that, and that's all I want. And the one thing that I love about doing so is when you walk inside the stadium with your own access card and everybody greets you because they know you're a part of the team, and you don't have to ever pay again to go inside and watch a game or pay for a ticket. So, it's these small things that I see on a daily basis which just excites me, because it's about having fulfilled my dream. But in terms of me, in terms of the next 5-10 years, if I was to break this down, when we target new markets, or when we basically look at new areas where we're strategizing and planning, me being at Watford Football Club, or me not being here, within the next 10 years, if you have next 5-10 years, if you have someone who gets up in the morning in India and says, today I'm going to watch Watford Football Club, that is your mission done, that is your dream achieved, and that is what we look to do. So it's as simple as that, to make sure that there are people that will follow and will give a huge thumbs up to Watford Football Club in the upcoming years through what we're trying to do. Me personally, I don't know. just keep working hard, really.
It is a difficult question, isn't it? Especially when you're put on the spot.
Yeah, all I'd say is I don't see myself wanting to think about going to other clubs. I don't see myself wanting to be to deviate into other sports or anything of that kind. For me, it's all about just getting up on a daily basis, having certain tasks and objectives in mind that we want to achieve, and just going about doing that. It's all that matters to me. And yeah, hopefully, like I said, the bigger dream is when people wake up in a Far East country and say, today we shall watch Watford Football Club. That's it for me in terms of where I want to be. Obviously, the position I'm at, I'm learning on a very, very daily basis. I'm learning new things. I'm learning new techniques of how to speak, what to say, where to speak. And, it's just a learning process which never really stops. So for me, I'm just happy with the learning and just with the growth I've got. But yes, that's what I say to any Ucfb Gis student is, when you're in it, you'll actually realize what I'm talking about. When I say that I don't know, you'll see the same thing when you're here inside a football club. So yeah.
Thank you. Well, I think that is a really wonderful note to end on. And I think that is my cue just to thank everybody at the team for putting together such a brilliant and comprehensive presentation. It's been super interesting. We've had so many people interested in engaging at home, in the classroom, wherever you are tuning in. This is the penultimate session of National Graduate Week. We have got the BBC at 3 o'clock. I would like to say thank you again to everybody here. All the information can be found on the profile on the National Graduate Week website, which is under the Postgraduate Study section. And this session will be on demand on the National Graduate Week website in a week or so's time. So I think that's my cue to say my final goodbye and thank you. And see you again.